Hi everyone, welcome to the first video on my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be talking about my experience so far with the company Interac from a UK applicant standpoint. I applied to Interac just over a year ago. I first heard about them when I was looking online and researching what the best companies were to work for as an ALT in Japan. I'm sure you guys have already done that kind of information, that's why you're here watching this video. But some good companies, other good companies to note are the JET program and Aon, both of which I also applied for while I was doing my research. Interac was actually the first company that replied to me, and it just so happened that it was actually the company that I most wanted to work for and the one that was best for what I actually wanted to achieve. So, to start off, I went to the website to find out more. On the website, it's actually a really good website. It'll tell you a lot of information about the company itself, and it also has a really good frequently asked questions page. Now this page, it tells you it answers a lot of questions all the way from culture shock to accommodation to financial worries. I think the main questions I had for Interac were what the accommodation situation was and what the rate of pay was. And I got the answers that I was looking for. They usually reply to emails in about 1 or 2 days, but all the information that you could ever want really is on the website. So applying for Interac is actually really simple. Just go over to the website, hit apply now, and just go through the application process. They'll start off by asking you to fill out your CV, input your references, and they'll ask you to do a questionnaire as well, which is just some general questions. They ask you like where you want to live in Japan, why you want to work in Japan, all that kind of stuff. It's just like applying for any other job. Once you've got that online application form filled out, just sit back, relax, and just wait for a reply. If they like the sound of you, they'll invite you to a face-to-face interview. If you're living in the UK, the closest one to me when I was living up north was York. It was only about an hour away on the train from where I was living at the time, and then from the train station in York it was only about 5 minutes walk from the train station to the hotel, which was pretty nice to be honest. So, before you actually go for an interview, they'll ask you to upload a video of you, pretending to teach a class. It's just so they can see how you sort of project your voice, see if you're right for the role, that sort of thing. It's super easy though, don't worry, you'll be fine. Sure, it was actually pretty embarrassing and awkward to just, film yourself teaching a class in front of the camera. I personally had to make sure that no one else was in my house, so no one would walk in on me, because it was pretty awkward, but don't worry about it too much. But it's fairly simple. They'll send you an email with all the details about this whole video that they want you to make. They'll even give you some examples of imaginary lessons that you can give to your imaginary class. Only one other person had actually seen my video. I showed it to my friend just before I uploaded it and then deleted it straight after because I didn't want anyone to ever watch it ever again. So for the start of this video that they want you to make, they'll ask you to say a little bit about yourself. So you can actually start this, if you can start this in Japanese. You can introduce yourself in Japanese, which I thought was pretty nice. And it'll show them as well that you're really interested in living and working in Japan if you already know a little bit of the language. But don't worry, you don't actually need to know Japanese to work here. They explain that on the website as well. Then they'll get you to read a little bit about the company. It's like a small script. It'll take about 1.5 minutes to read. I think that one's definitely just to show how you can sort of say different words and project yourself to a classroom. Then after you've done those 2 small speeches, they'll get you to kind of do a pretend class for me it was for around 8 to 9 year olds. They already knew some English and that kind of thing, so it wasn't too difficult. So what I did for mine was I had a couple of a couple of rows of colours behind me, and I just kind of got this imaginary class to give me the names of the colours. Really, it would have been fun if there was actually people there, but I was just on my own in my apartment. And then for the second class, these kids had more advanced English apparently, and for this one they actually give you some proper guidelines of what specific lesson that they want you to do. For me it was they wanted you to teach them directions, and then they gave you a big template that you could use, and you had to draw it out yourself and write all the words, so like straightforward, back, left, right, all that kind of stuff. And so as well, actually, a good thing to note is they actually want you to use American English. They have to, so for people in the UK, you'll have to say things like sidewalk, block, that kind of thing, which isn't too difficult. We watch enough American TV as it is, so we can do American English pretty well. The template that they gave us actually made me feel a lot better about the whole thing. It made everything a lot easier. But there are plenty of examples on YouTube that if you are getting stuck, especially with your first lesson, there's plenty of examples on YouTube of what other people have done. You can take those and change them a little bit, or you can actually be a little bit more creative and think of fun and interesting things to do yourself. So when you go and do your actual face-to-face interview, you'll be with a group of other people. The interviewer that did mine was she was really, really nice. She made everyone feel a lot more comfortable about the whole thing, and she was so friendly. It was more like a general discussion rather than a really strict interview. First, they kind of go through who the company are, what they stand for, and then they'll talk a little bit more about the role of an ALT, which is an assistant language teacher. And then they'll actually talk to you a little bit more about Japan, ask you what you know about Japan, what you like about Japan. Similarities, for us, she asks us the similarity between England and Japan, that sort of thing. So it's just one big nice discussion, really. She'll also ask you why you want to work for them, and sort of questions like that. It's standard interview questions, but it's not really strict. So after the sort of group interview stage, they'll get you to do what they call a grammar and spelling test. So don't worry, again, this is actually, it's really easy. If you've got, at least a C in English from your GCSEs, you'll be able to do this with no trouble at all. It's not the hardest thing in the world, it's just really simple grammar and stuff like that. It doesn't take too long either. I think it took us about 10-15 minutes when it actually should have taken us 30 minutes. That's what our interviewer said. Once you've done the grammar and spelling test, they'll take you for a one-on-one interview. This is also really chilled. It's not really an interview, it's more of, again, just another casual discussion. They'll ask you more direct questions like where you want to live and that kind of thing. They'll review your questionnaire that you filled out right at the start of the application, and also review your grammar and spelling test that you just did. Don't worry, they don't mark it like a proper teacher sort of thing. They just sort of they use it to as well assess your handwriting skills. My handwriting skills aren't the best, but she said I need to work on it, but it'll be fine. They also ask you questions like, where do you want to live in Japan? So kind of geographically, where do you want to live? I think for me, I asked if I could be put somewhere kind of warm, but not too warm, so I don't want to be all the way down south where it's really tropical. As you can see, I'm pretty fair-skinned, so that the sun just doesn't agree with me very much. But I didn't want to be all the way up north where it's just way too cold. I also asked for if I could live somewhere more suburban rather than in the city centre, and rather than really rural. I want to be in a place that's a little bit more connected. And they actually do strive to put you where you ask for. And so far they've actually put me in with West Japan Company, which means I'll be around Hiroshima area, in Okayama, that kind of area, I believe. So that's really good. I'm really pleased with that. So after you've finished the interview stage, you just need to, again, sit back and relax and wait for that email that they'll tell you definitively whether you do have the job or not. I wouldn't worry, they do reply to you regardless if you did get the job or not. They're not just one of those countries that just kind of leave you hanging and never reply to you ever again. They will tell you if you definitely have it or not. I remember this bit taking about 1 or 2 weeks, I'm not quite sure. I don't remember waiting months and months and months. It was really quick response time, which made me feel quite good about it. Once you've been successful, they'll send you an email letting you know of the next steps that you need to take to kind of continue your whole application process into getting to live and work in Japan. So for me at this stage, I still had about 8 or 6 months left on my degree, so I still need to finish my degree. And yes, it is actually better if you do have a university degree going into this job. I do believe that you can do it without a degree, but I've heard that it's quite a lot harder to kind of get into. because they do like you to prove that you do have a degree level of education to become an English teacher in Japan. So then, of course, about a week or two before I finished my degree, I was finishing my dissertation, the world went into lockdown. Coronavirus came about, global pandemic. This meant that Japan closed its borders, visa applications stopped and all that sort of stuff, so I was actually stuck in my apartment. I finished my degree and everything, and I was just sort of stuck there for the next couple of months, not knowing what was happening. But luckily, this didn't mean that I didn't have any job prospects anymore. A few months in, so throughout the pandemic, the whole pandemic, Interac has actually been really, really good at keeping you up to date with what's happening in Japan and that kind of thing. What's happening with your application and you having a job. They made sure to tell us that we did all still have a job, all the applicants that weren't over in Japan yet. They were really supportive and really friendly throughout the whole ordeal. And then a couple of months into the pandemic, they actually released my work email, which made me feel like things were moving forward quite a little bit more. So up until a couple of weeks ago, I was still waiting on my degree certificate, which is one of the documents you need to get your certificate of eligibility to then get your visa processed. As of right now, those are the documents that I'm waiting for. I'm waiting for some passport photos, my degree, so I can get everything sent off all at once, and then hopefully after that it will be around 2 to 3 months before I'm actually in Japan and working. So that concludes the video for today. If you've got any questions about Interac or working in Japan, let me know in the comments down below. Please like and subscribe to the video and hit the bell icon to turn on notifications so you know when I upload with the next update about my journey to Japan. Thanks for watching. Bye!